Hi, welcome to this tutorial on mastering C Sharp interfaces. If you are new to C Sharp or want to deepen your understanding of inheritance and interfaces, you are at the right place. When I was new to the programming, I found it really difficult to understand how interfaces are useful because most of the examples were pretty basic and only taught about the syntax. So it was really confusing what interfaces are doing apart from just adding a new layer of code, right? So in this video, we will explore what interfaces are, why they are essential, and how to use them effectively in your C Sharp application. Example, how to create an interface. So here we have an interface for the iCar. It has certain string properties like model and brand and two methods with boolean methods for start engine and stop engine. Further, we implemented this interface into the class car, and we need to implement those properties and the methods for the start engine and stop engine. So it's a very basic example that I'm looking at. If we go to the program.cs, we are creating the new instance of the car, assigning values to these properties and executing methods for the start engine and the stop engine. And if any of the operation failed, we are writing on the console unable to start or stop, and console.writeLine test successful in case if it is successful. So this is how this very basic example is created. If we run this application, as we see, expected stop, started, and test is successful. So, right. This is a very basic example how interface is created. But do we actually need interface here for just one class? So this is a perfect example where we should not use interface, right? Because there is no purpose that interface is serving. It's a very basic example that can help us in understanding what is the syntax of the interface, how to write an interface. But yeah, we actually don't need interface for such a simple requirement. It's a very basic scenario, and instead of this iCar, I can just do car. That is fine. So interface is not helping us here in any way. That's cool. So let's take a step back, look at why we actually need interface, what inheritance does for us. Then we will proceed to a more detailed example that is more close to the real world. Inheritance. It is the fundamental attribute of the object-oriented programming. Inheritance has two main things. One is the base class and the second is the derived class. Base class or the parent class is the one which is being inherited, whereas derived class is the child class which inherits from the another class which we know as base class. So these are the two important terms we should remember while we talk about inheritance, the base class and the derived class. And the derived class automatically gets all the features of the base class. So that is the core concept of the inheritance. C Sharp and .NET support single inheritance only. So that's a very important aspect of inheritance with C Sharp and .NET is that it supports single inheritance only. That a single derived class can have just one parent class. So it cannot have multiple parent classes. Although we have transitive inheritance in that we can use, suppose there is a class B that is derived from the class A. Similarly, C can derive from the B. So A is the parent of B and B could be the parent of C. Now we talk about the interfaces and the abstract class. That is how we implement inheritance in the C Sharp .NET. And let's look at what each of these do. If we talk about interfaces, what it helps, it provides us the contract definition. Interface defines a contract that class must adhere to without providing any implementation. This ensures that any class implementing the interface will have specific methods or properties, but in itself, interface will not have any implementation. Then we talk about multiple inheritance. As we talked, we cannot have multiple inheritance in C Sharp.net, but to do it in a different way, that is allowed through interfaces. So C Sharp does not support multiple inheritances for classes, but a class can implement multiple interfaces. So suppose there is a class person, it can, or a class student, it can implement interface I person and I student. So that's how multiple inheritance is supported in C Sharp.net. And this allows for more flexible and modular design. The third thing that interfaces help us is decoupling. Interfaces help in decoupling the code by separating the definition of methods from their implementation. This is particularly useful in dependency injection and testing. So suppose you don't want to tightly couple your dependencies, and .NET Core also comes with a inbuilt dependency injection framework. You can directly use it and inject your interfaces instead of the concrete class. For abstract classes, how they help? They provide shared implementation, or we can say partial implementation. So the implementation of the base class is shared with the derived classes. This is very useful in case when we have common functionality that should be inherited. Abstract class supports single inheritance. A class can be derived only from one base class. It has type hierarchy. Abstract classes are useful to create a base class that other classes can inherit from, establishing a clear type hierarchy. So this is how we know how that hierarchy goes from one class to another. Create a new application to see how interfaces will work for us in a real world scenario. In this solution, let's add a new project. Add new project. Let's use again the console app. Let's call it shopping site. Do the next. Yeah. So here our new project is created with a very basic hello world. Let's add some files and classes to it. The first thing we are going to add here is the interface, because this is going to be our starting point, and it will help us in understanding how we should design our interfaces and classes. Okay, so we have this iDiscount interface created. Naming convention for interface is usually the same. You start with the I and then the meaningful name. Here it is iDiscount for us. We can have a certain property in there. Let's assume double discount percentage. And the get set. Now we may want to add some methods. Since we are using double, we want to apply the discount now. We can accept double price as the argument to our method. So this is how our very basic iDiscount interface looks like. Let's move ahead and add some classes to it. Let's call it membership, as we are going to provide discount based on the membership user. iDiscount. Let's implement this interface here. This will quickly interface the implement. But yeah, we don't want to throw exceptions. We just simply remove these. Cool. Now we can implement our apply discount method here. Let's write console.write line, put a dollar. This will be used for the string interpolation. And let's keep discount percentage. Discount is applied. And what we can do simply return price into we, we simply want to get the discounted price. So 100 minus discount percentage divided by 100 would be a simple calculation to do here. So suppose discount is 10%. So price will be 100 minus 10 is 90. 90 upon 10 is zero point 0.9. So price into zero point 0.9 will be the discounted price that will be returned by this method. Cool. So let's create further more classes on top of this one. Let's call it premium membership, and this will inherit the membership instead of the interface. See, if we just try to create this method here, public double apply discount, and again the double price, we see a warning. It will hide the member.apply discount, membership.apply discount. Use the new keyword if it was. So using a new keyword is not a recommended practice. What we can do here is make it a virtual. So this will allow us to provide it a default implementation, and by making it virtual we can override it here without an issue. Still see some errors. Not all code paths returns a value, right? Because we haven't implemented anything here right now. Okay. Let's call it premium discount percentage is applied. This is how we can implement multiple membership options here. This is how our apply discount will look with the premium membership. Let's suppose we are getting our discount percentage from some database or some service. So let's set it to 80 here, or maybe just 30%. That will be a good discount for our users. Oops. Yep, you're right. So we have our discount percentage set here to 30, and this will be processed further. Let's move to the program.cs. Here, what we can do is where member into new premium member. Here also the value could come from the user input or the database. And for the premium member, we want some final price, member dot apply discount. We can also modify the discount percentage. We can do certain things here. So let's suppose currently the price is $100. Just pass the 100 and we will get our final price back. Yep. Let's make one more member, and this could be our regular member. We may want to provide certain discount. Let's make it 15, and where final price 2 is equal to, yep. Here we can just write it is our premium member price. Just put it in curly braces. Yes. And this is going to be our regular member price. We can do one more thing here. It could be of type I discount as well. So this is how, and similarly we can do certain calculations here. Again, let's change the price. So this is our I discount member that we have created here. So this is how our final application looks like. We can have multiple implementation coming from the same interface, and we can directly call the apply discount on the membership classes, the actual classes implementing those methods, or we can use this I discount interface. If we don't know we are which type of membership we are going to initialize, instantiate here, we can simply use the I discount. Let's run this application to see what will be the output. Oops, we are starting the wrong project. So here we can see two projects, interface demo and shopping site. Let's select the shopping site and do the execution. Yep. Premium 30% is applied. Premium membership price is $70. 15% is applied. Price is 85. 30% is applied. On 150, our discount member price is 85. So this is how our final output looks like. Let's look at one more example using iLogger here. So this will help us in looking how we are going to implement this interface and also use the dependency injection provided by .NET Core. So iLogger will just log the message here, and we are implementing iLogger in the console logger here. This class implements iLogger in the method log. I have created another class, my application, which accepts iLogger as the constructor injection from our DI framework. And on run, it will log the message to the logger. Let's move to the program.cs quickly. Here, I have used the host application builder to provide the dependency injection, and it uses certain packages Microsoft extension.dependency injection and Microsoft extension.hosting. So now this builder, we need to register our services. So we are registering iLogger implementation as console logger and also the my application. Since we want to use the inbuilt framework DI, we need to get the instance of the my application from the registered services, and we can call app.run on top on once we retrieve our app. So if we see, my application has a run method here. Now let's execute this code, and what we can see, log is here, application is running what we added in our logger. So this is how interfaces will work with the DI. In this tutorial, we explored the basic of C# interfaces, their implementation, inheritance, and practical uses. We also looked at how the dependency injection work with the .NET 6 framework. Understanding interfaces is the key to mastering C# and designing robust applications. So good luck, guys. Keep watching, like the video, leave your comments. Thank you.